Pokémon Sun and Moon were a big deal, released during the 20th anniversary of the franchise and at the tail end of the 3DS's lifespan. A brand new adventure that also took the time to celebrate the legacy of the previous 6 generations leading up to it. And a few characters ended up returning in this brand new adventure. Early on, we catch up with Dexio and Cecena. You remember Dexio and Cecena, right? We first saw them as Professor Sycamore's assistants, helping to guide us along the way. Now they reappear in Alola to introduce the concept of the Zygarde cores, tying up that loose thread from X and Y. But Dexio and Cecena never had official art, and in Generation 6, they only appeared in the overworld, never as characters to be battled. Their X and Y designs can't really be seen very much, though it's cool that they're brought back and better utilized. I also can't tell if they're older now or if they just look older because of the different proportions that Sun and Moon uses. They've both dropped the white suits and are dressed casually to fit in. The shirts they wear are even items that you can purchase and wear as the player character. I believe the rest of the outfits are also available clothing options, or at least something close. Both of their sunglasses are also unique, which makes them stand out a bit more, looking like tourists. I guess this could be a nod to their appearance as the masked heroes in X and Y. I just like that they were brought back in this game and were actually given Pokemon. Continuing on our journey, we later meet Professor Burnette. Her first appearance was actually in the Generation 5 spin-off game Pokémon Dream Radar, where she helped to navigate the dream world and capture the Therian forms of the Fortress of Nature. Now she researches ultra wormholes in Alola. She has a more casual look, not wearing her lab coat anymore. Her old look was overall more tactical with the jumpsuit, boots, gloves, and goggles. It looks like she still has the jumpsuit to some degree, just tied around her waist. Or it could be a different piece of clothing that still keeps the orange stripes. And the most noticeable difference is that she's gotten a tan from the Alolan sun. We've seen that with Marlin, some Unnovan people can really put on a tan. I'm glad they decided to bring back one of the more obscure characters from a spin-off game and further tie them into the story of the main series. We just get to see more of her personality with this updated look. But I like both, they're just meant for different settings. The Generation 5 hype doesn't stop there because one of the biggest twists is that Colress is just hanging out in Alola. While he was a major antagonist with questionable morality in Black 2 and White 2, he technically wasn't a villain and seemingly got off scot-free by the end of the story. So I guess he's a good guy now. A lot about Colress is actually still the same. His glasses and iconic hairstyle haven't changed, it really only looks like his coat is different. It's still long and flowing like the previous one, but is more closed off at the top and has a higher collar. This really works to give his character design more of a rectangle shape rather than the triangle that he had before. Shape language is important. He's also got these consoles built into his wrist and gloves along with that coat, which is a funny way of making him look even stranger than his original outfit. The console on the right hand seems to resemble an NES controller, but maybe that's just me. That was like the one Nintendo system that you can't play Pokemon on, so maybe it's just a configuration of buttons. And yet another black and white character makes their way to Alola, as Grimsley is also just there. I guess he's enjoying life, or at least is trying to after stepping down from the Elite Four. Grimsley had originally come from a family of high status, and being a dark type trainer, he had a lot of flair in his outfit. But now he's just full on casual. Interesting that his clothing went from black to white. He still keeps the scarf, but it's funny how the context of it changes from one to another. At first it was a fashion statement, but now it makes him look even more easygoing, almost lazy. Apparently it's only been a 2-year difference between these two appearances, but geez, he's starting to gray pretty fast. His eyes are also dark and sunken. We literally just saw Colress with no physical age differences, but Grimsley looks 10 years older. Gambling will do that to you, I guess. But here are two characters who actually are 10 years older from their last appearance, Red and Blue. Like I mentioned, Pokemon Sun and Moon was released during the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, so it was such a treat to see these two return. And honestly, they don't look all that different. Red's clothing has changed, but it still hits the same beats as before. Red hat with a Pokeball design, red short sleeve shirt, yellow backpack, blue jeans, and red shoes. But this clothing is more form-fitting, which emphasizes his taller structure and slimmer build. It's cool that the design on the shirt says 96 as an abbreviation for 1996, the year that the first Pokemon games were released. Really obvious and simple, but it fits because that's just a common type of design for basic t-shirts like that. The joke about Red nowadays is that he doesn't speak. But in his first design, he mostly just had a basic expression because he was the blank protagonist to project onto. But now that he's an adult, his expression does a better job at making him look like a stoic silent type. Blue has gone full on tourist, bringing a button-up shirt, shorts, and sunglasses. But I guess this makes sense because since X and Y, we had known that he was the type to travel the world. So he's probably used to wearing different clothing appropriate to the climate. He's also wearing predominantly green rather than blue. This is because his name in Japanese is green while it's always been blue in English. English. I know, real confusing because he's been wearing the color blue for the longest time, but this is to mirror the original games being red and green in Japan. I might as well mention that the characters like Cynthia and Wally also show up in the battle tree where you meet Red and Blue, but they don't have any significant changes. Looker also appears in the post-game with no visual changes, but he's working alongside Annabelle, who is basically a new person. Once a Frontier Brain in Generation 3, she's made her way to Alola through Ultra Wormhole tomfoolery, losing her memories in the process. Now that she's joined the International Police, her role as well as her outfit is completely different. While a Frontier Brain, she wore vaguely royal-looking clothing straight out of the Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald era. Now she wears a black suit, which actually looks pretty nice on her. Remember what we've been saying in the past videos about character stances? Well, you can see that here with Annabelle, as her job has changed to require her to be more investigative. She also has longer hair, which is mostly meant to show the passage of time, but also contributes to her working more as an investigator rather than a battler. While these aren't legacy character updates, I feel like I should mention that Guzma and Plumeria's outfits change through the course of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Once you save the day and Team Skull is officially disbanded, they both drop any Team Skull iconography from their outfits. Guzma's pretty simple, he loses the gold chain and apparently the tattoos on his arms were fake. But Plumeria's a little more drastic, she also loses the fake tattoo, but because her hair was tied together with skulls on her head, she switches it for a bandana instead. She also has matching pants. Both the bandana and pants match Salazzle in terms of design and color, which I actually think is pretty cool. It helps to give a little more identity to this look even though it's missing a lot of the details from the original. The last parts being the design on the wristband and the skull necklace. Some really interesting changes for these characters, again, that happened during the course of the story of the game. Though I still feel like their full Team Skull outfits look better because that's kind of what they were designed to be in the first place. But I just think that is cool that this happens as a story reason in the games, especially as you get to battle them later. And in the post-game, even Giovanni returns with the Rainbow Rocket arc, but he has almost no visual differences aside from the R on his suit changing color. The other difference is that he conquered Kanto in an alternate universe and came to Alola, but visually there isn't much difference. It really says something that one of the strongest trainers and villains in the Pokemon world just wears a suit every time. The same goes for the Rocket Grunts, who look similar to their Fire Red and Leaf Green appearances, aside from the R being a rainbow now. They both have green hair, but the female's hair looks a bit different underneath the cap. Maybe the secret to world domination was that it had to be in the universe with the hot version. Other evil team leaders also appear with the Rainbow Rocket event, but they're all using the same designs from the previous games. They are all from alternate universes after all. But that is just about every returning character in Pokemon Sun and Moon. With both the regular and Ultra versions together, Generation 7 was really a celebration of Pokemon up until then. So many elements came together aside from just the characters and their updated designs. But the character designs themselves are exactly what I set out to talk about today. So tell me which one is your favorite. There are still a handful of other redesigns and updates I'll probably take a look at in future videos, but for now I'm really on a Sun and Moon kick. So I think I'll be staying in Alola for a while, because this is where Pokemon's legacy all came together. Thank you to all of my channel members who make videos like this possible, especially the great Gators Jackson, Justin R, Mr. Pig Puncher, and Quago. If you'd like to support, get a shout out here and some access to emotes used in comments and live streams, then you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter for more memes as well. Anyway, this has been GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
Mysterious experiences await around every corner. Just remember your true strength, and you'll discover that exploring your world can be the greatest adventure ever. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon are proud sponsors of Disney Channel. Games and systems sold separately, rated everyone.
Well, if the truth be told, I happen to be a girl.
Pikachu.